The deal is this. I'll tell you, when I was a kid, that read Dropper Anton Wilson, all this real. I'll tell you, when I was a kid, that read Dropper Anton Wilson, all this real dope. Yeah, I'm pissed. Yeah, I'm pissed. Come on. What? Okay, by the time we finish this, you're all going to be practicing magicians.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, and I am so glad Frank Quietly is back.
Hell yeah. Frank Quietly is back, baby. And he does some great work.
Oh, my God.
In this issue.
Absolutely. So we're Days of Future Cast. It's a podcast where Gary and I are covering New X-Men by Grant Morrison. We are deep into that run, issue number 126. And Xavier's is being attacked by Cassandra Nova, who just spent an inordinate amount of time destroying the Shi'ar Empire just because, you know, Xavier dated a chick once. The Super Guardians have all been basically disabled. Xavier, who was once inhabiting Cassandra Nova's body, is now, his mental energy is now being stored in Jean Grey's Phoenix body, and she is basically two people in one at this point. And that catches us up to talk about the cover, which is a school class picture, and I am a sucker for this shit. Anytime, like, we saw this in the animated series, like, anytime, like, I remember very specifically, like, in the Mojo world, when we panned over all those aliens, I was fucking here for it, and I am super here for all of this now. Like, this is great.
Yeah, this is great, and it's just evocative. Like, it's shattered. You know, it's on the ground, like something bad has happened. This seems very melancholy for what's actually going to be a very optimistic issue. I love, so as far as people, you know, and a lot of these are foreshadowing. These are characters that we're actually going to deal with.
Yes.
You know, as Grant Morrison starts getting in with the kids here, you know, we get Glob Herman, which we've seen before, but here he is. I love, like miniature Kingpin, like Prince Pin over on the left. Behind Cyclops.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's is that the dude that in the future episode, is that the fashion designer guy that gets killed?
No, I don't think that he looks like him, but I don't think that guy was supposed to be a student.
Okay, maybe not. He was supposed to be a lot around.
It looks a little bit like him though. But
I feel like there's a guy kind of in the center, right, standing next to Beak. That looks just like the Australian guy that they tried to rescue that Cassandra Nova killed in the very first issue of this. The guy with the three faces or whatever, and all of them are pigs or whatever, what he was saying.
Ugly John.
Ugly John, yeah, but it's not him, because he only has one face. So
yeah, it's ugly. It's like good Ugly John, but he has 3 arms.
Yeah,
so it's Ugly John. Like he there's a conversion chart somewhere. Like he just
how many? Let's say you have 3 faces, and I come to you and I'm like, I will trade you. I want 2 of those faces. How many arms can I give you? Like, how many arms do you want for these faces? Would it be pretty minimum, right? Like, you just want to get rid of the faces.
Yeah. Oh, at this point, I would take 3 arms over 3 faces any day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
3
Spider Gary,
but 3 additional arms, so you have a total of 5.
Sure.
Okay.
So, I mean, a total of 8. Or no, 3 additional. Oh, I was thinking of sets. 3 additional arms might be a little tricky. Like, I wouldn't like it if one of them came out of my back, but if they were all like on my side, that may be really hard to sleep as well. I don't know but to make push-ups really easy, I don't know.
What if you still couldn't do push-ups? What if you got made fun of at the gym because you had 6 weak-ass arms?
Arms. You know, as somebody who can barely do a push-up now, I'd be like, oh, I could definitely do a push-up. And then somebody would pull out a pull-up bar, and I'd be like, I don't think anyone's ever actually successfully done one of these. This is a real exercise.
With the extra arms conversation, which I feel like I've been having since I was like 8, is it's just always I always go back to the clothes of like, oh, I guess I have to learn how to sew, which I could probably do because of my extra arms, but like now I'm spending a lot of time with my own clothing. Like I have to.
I'd wear ponchos, dude. Like goodbye to sleeves, man. Like all ponchos, all slankets.
Are you serious? It's no way, dude. That's so gross. Like you look like a fucking flasher. What are you doing? Gary in a fucking trench coat with no shirt on and 6 loose dangly arms.
Ponchos don't open in the front. It's very hard to flash in a poncho.
Dude, you have 6 arms. You can flash in a poncho.
I can flash in any article of clothing. I can flash in a tuxedo with 6 arms.
You can even do that girl thing where they take off a sweater and their bra at the same time somehow. Like I've never been able to figure out. Like you would be able to do
taking off their
anything.
clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man,
the 6-armed flasher would be very efficient at flashing. You know, so. There's a lot to think about. I think we solved it. If you like this show, go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
If you like, send in a 5-star review about what you would do with your 6 arms.
Yeah.
So we start this issue with, and like automatically, it's the art is just so much better. The blocking is so much better. Like Xavier,
it just feels good.
It feels so good.
Yeah.
Scott has Landra in his arms, and Zorn is running behind him with what must be her
with a Rocky
Sage guy. He's wearing Crocs for some reason, and that's about 5 years before Crocs came out. So
he's wearing Crocs. Fuck, dude.
So how smart can he be, Gary? Is what I'm saying. And like
we invented them as 5 years before they came out. So pretty smart.
Good job, Grant Morrison. Yeah, thanks for inflicting those upon us.
Yeah.
And Zorn is basically just asking, like, you have no doubt we can survive this, and Scott like back straight in the middle of a run, like none at all, no doubt whatsoever.
I love it so much. Your icy calm lunacy under pressure.
So fucking good, dude. I love that line. Yeah,
the best Scott. And he's like, no, like I am carrying the single most important woman in the galaxy. You're carrying her guru. We've been, through bad times. If you'd like Araka, but we just do what we have to do. We're gonna hit the ground. We're going to hit the ground and save lives.
Yes. And they jump into the transit stream, which is thought based, to go show up at Xavier Mansion. But before that happens, we go back over to the Super Guardians, who are all super fucked up now. The one is phased into Smasher, who is not doing pretty well since he fell to Earth. The Oracle is just like looking around like she's kind of had maybe one mushroom too many, and now like all of her friends have left her, and she doesn't really know what concert she's at. Yeah.
Doesn't remember who Fish are.
Why did I come? I hate acoustic music. Why am I at a Fish concert?
Why do they call him Trey Anastasio if there's only one?
And then like our buddy Star Colossus, still no speaking lines for Star Colossus, much like Storm in modern movies.
But I'm all right with how he looks now.
Yeah, he looks fine. Yeah, looks good.
Yeah. And we're getting these word bubbles that we don't see the source of. This is Cassandra Nova just performing a psyop.
Yes.
On these people, like basically undoing Gladiator. Like, the proud foundations of your empire are shattered by the weapons of war which the Empress employed to maintain peace. Your powers are maintained by self-belief. I grilled Lalandra on this. How do you feel now? The system that you serve is in ruins. Its figurehead is insane. Where were you when this is happening? You were failing in your duty. Like you didn't even go kill the X-Men. You didn't even do the thing you were told to do.
And he literally pees himself and just starts calling himself useless and a waste. It really cracks me up that Gladiator is an evolved human, like an evolved super guardian that has all of these powers and still has to, take a leak every once in a while. That really makes me happy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like the fact that all the super guardians piss.
Yes.
Canon. I like it.
Canon.
Yep. Canon. Do you think they get a trough or do you think they got stalls?
I think most of them share a trough, and then Gladiator has earned himself like his own stall. So
his own single Imperial super toilet.
They probably have a super guardian who has ice powers, who just fills that bad boy up every day. You know what I'm saying?
It's a cut down on the super smell.
Yeah, just at a real shitty bar kind of situation.
Good Lord, Gladiator, drink some water.
If it's that yellow, you need to go see the super guardian doctor.
This shouldn't be this way. So we cut over to the kids. Angel and Beak are spying on them. This is that line I mentioned in the last episode where Angel's explaining who Cassandra Nova is, and I love Beak. Beak is explaining it, and Angel's like, "Yeah, she'll eat your brains out." And he's like, "She'd throw up if she ate mine. She'd cut her throat if she had to be me for more than 5 minutes."
Great.
And he's kind of got turning and doing the thumbs up thing. Really, really good.
That's super good. I love Beak so much. Yeah, it's so good. Emma Frost has been freed. She was freed in the last issue, so now she approaches Stuff, and they start. For some reason, Emma Frost's nose bandage, her Nelly bandage, has gone away in this issue for some reason. I don't know why. They seem to go back and forth on that quite a bit.
They forgot.
But they are going to break into Stuff's mind and use it for something involving the tissue sample. Before
Which, I mean,
go ahead.
It's like the big twist of this issue, and it's pretty easy to see what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like she just says, like, he's reprogrammable. We can redo his shape, but it's a really clever plan.
Yeah. Especially that
like,
the kids have come up with. Like, this isn't a Jean Grey special or anything.
Yeah, exactly. The MVPs of this are the Cuckoos and Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Who take care of this stuff for it. We cut back over as she's planning to do this to Hank and Jean there, and Hank is concerned, because Jean Grey has Professor Xavier's brain in her head, and she's obviously confused. Like, she's like, "We're fine. I see you've changed again," and he hasn't changed again. Like, his memories are just fucking shot.
Yeah.
And he's very concerned. Like, "Let me take your blood pressure." And she's like, "No time for that." She walks out of the school, and all the kids are really concerned. There's a part like she's gone weird.
I love that she's gone weird. I also like that there's like 4 kids and then a stepdad out in front of this vault, where the stepdad is like, "Are you going to kill her?" And he's just dressed in his like Saturday stepdad, like, "I've got my shitty wife beater and my receding hairline kind of look going." Yep. Like it's a really funny Xavier student, and she basically says that something that Hank mentioned earlier, like, this is not, we don't want to kill her if we don't have to, because that goes against everything we believe in. But we don't need human justice for this. It has to be mutant justice. This is a mutant problem. And then Hank starts hustling people back to the danger room.
Yep. Xavier, Jean Grey, feels Cassandra Nova getting closer, starts bleeding, and Wolverine gets thrown through the door here. She feels this, and there's again, just great art, great scene. She's like, Logan's down, and she's just hemorrhaging blood from her mouth.
Yeah.
Like, it's really scary. Just falling to the ground with her back against the wall, blood leaking on the wall, like talking about her memories that she can't remember anymore. Like, she's forgetting things, and it's like little things like the smell of soap at her grandmother's house, and big things like overcoming onslaught.
Yeah.
Really,
really good. And while all of this is happening, Hank's trying to take care of her while the kids are standing around, and she's like, Hank's like, "I told you guys to get into the danger room, like, get the hell out of here." The kids are like, "Absolutely not. Like, we're here. She's killing mutants. We're mutants. We're going to defend ourselves." And of course, Jean / Xavier is like, "Don't let them go. Like, you gotta get them to a safe place."
Yeah, and it's foolish. Like, all the people are saying we can help are wrong, right? Like, the kids being here actually ends up being a problem later. So it's like, it's admirable that all these people want to help, but like, one of the themes of this is like, no, X-Men, the X-Men are the X-Men. They can do this shit.
Yeah.
It's not something everyone can do. So right at this moment, when everything is bad, Zorn and Cyclops teleport in.
I love this so much. Like, the sequence where this bright blue light happens, like the teenagers are all like, "Whoa!" And then Scott, who sees Jean on the ground, just immediately throws the most important person in the universe to a teenager. It's like, "Jean, are you okay?"
I love that guy. Like,
God, it's so great.
I hope he gets like an Imperial Knighthood or something from this.
Seriously, yeah.
And the dialogue here is great. Again, there's just certain lines I could just remember forever. And I love him leaning over and Jean saying, "Scott, you're my favorite superhero." That's so sweet. So like, sweet. I don't, it's just like very sweet.
And then him responding with, "I love you too, Jean," is just so nice.
Yeah, really good.
Best
good dialogue.
Couple.
Yeah. Best couple. Really good. So they're, they do a little exposition to each other to catch each other up. Scott learns about the micro sentinels. Jean can die of septic shock at any moment. And again, icy cold lunacy under pressure. Scott's like, "I don't believe that. Neither should you. Let's go. Like, there's work to do. Shut up." And we go, and Zorn is trying to heal Cassandra Nova's body. And Zorn's like, "This one was dead. You're wrong to bring me here." He's like, "You said you could heal her, right? Or you could heal us. You're a healer. Bring the professor back." And this is portrayed as if like, oh, he knows that Professor Xavier's mind is gone. The person who this is does not know that Professor Xavier's mind is gone. The person who this is cannot actually bring back the dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the person, who's there is like, I can't do this, but I'm here to heal you. The person who this is can definitely kill micro sentinels.
Absolutely.
So,
he does. He reaches over to Jean, and like Jean's face goes blue, and then he's killed all of the sentinels in his bloodstream. And like, you could kind of tell And then Zorn basically starts going through like, all right, Scott, you're next, and then we'll do Hank, and then hopefully we can get everybody done in time to deal with Cassandra Nova. And yeah, I like when he does this to Scott. Scott's like, wow, you don't really know how bad you're feeling until the feeling is gone. And like, usually when I get sick, like it's a couple of days to recover, and like it's never like a turn on turn off kind of situation. But I would imagine 18 million or billions of micro nanoparticles in your body have all gone dead, and all of a sudden you're feeling great. Like that has to feel pretty good.
Yeah. It's also like I think that they were attacking the white blood cells, so like this is a little like fakey science.
I'm totally okay with that. Yeah,
I'm okay with it too. I was thinking about it. And it's like, how do they feel better already? Like they still have the diseases, but I'm good with it because it's good and it's sci-fi and X-Men in action. Everyone feels better at this point, and they start talking about what Cassandra Nova is. They talked about this a little bit on the Shi'ar homeworld. We kind of glossed over it, but she is the Shi'ar have this concept I'll call the Mamudrai, and this is like your opposite.
Yes.
So like for every yin there's a yang, for every open there's a closed. Every person has this, and in their legends, in the womb, you kill your opposite and become the person you are. This is what Cassandra Nova is.
Yes. And yeah, and she's entangled with the world's most powerful telepath.
Yep.
So, I mean, she kind of fills in everybody of like the first thing that happened was, and as she's talking, you can tell she switches from the perspective of Jean Grey to the professor, because she says she switches to my original sin, my flaw, my failure.
Yeah.
And boy, this line at the bottom of the page of why does nothing ever stay buried? Like as Jean Grey saying that, like about to put on fucking Cerebro, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What a just a perfect like expression of X-Men, right? Like that's so good.
Yep. So she's got this plan. He has got this plan. She's like, Cassandra Nova is trying to get here. She wants to reach Cerebra because she's trying to kill every mutant. And this is when the X-Men are getting confident. Like she's putting on Cerebra because she has a plan. Scott says, yeah, she can stick to the plan as much as she wants, but if she sticks to the plan, we can improvise. She's powerful, but her strategies are really basic. I think we can take her. Again, talking about this like he's, planning a Warcraft raid or something.
Yeah.
And they kind of do some plans like, hey, don't hurt Cassandra Nova because it's Professor Xavier's body, but, disorient. And Jean Grey is like, hey, I have this idea. Also, can I remind you that Emma's still on the loose? And everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Scott shit-eating grins on everyone's face.
I love that you can tell Zorn is happy, even though Zorn's face is an iron mask.
His eyes are glowing a little bit more.
Yeah. They start flashing emojis at people. That's how Zorn's face works, right? Let's start flashing emojis. Yeah. And also, like, I just want to take a moment of like the panel with Cyclops, Zorn, and Beast all in the same frame. Like everybody looks cool all of a sudden because quietly knows how to draw people at proportional sizes and how this stuff works. Like it's so dramatically different from the last couple of issues. It has to be pointed out.
And there's little details and stuff too. Like you even have Beast, like he's got the 2 syringes in his hand, which he's going to use during this next sequence. Like it just, I don't know. There's something, it keeps coming up on Watch Out for Fireballs, like the confidence of being taken care of in like a work of media, like we talked about Half-Life 2 and we were like, they just know what they're doing. Like, I'm not going to run out of ammo and just be fucked. Like, I'm always going to get ammo basically when I need it. I'm always going to have health pickups basically when I need it because this is expertly designed, and that is something that can go in any media. Like I watched on New Year's Day, I watched Little Women.
Okay.
In the theater.
Weird flex, but all right.
It's it's like how I like to begin every new year. And it was good. It's a big budget, like comfort movie. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I ended up like really appreciating about it, like it's by no means perfect or anything. I think it's actually like getting maybe a little bit overrated. But it's good. And the thing that I liked about it was I just felt very confident in it. Like I can relax because this person knows what they're doing. Like it becomes very clear very early on, like this is not going to be a messy, compromised work. Like this is a pretty strong vision and a pretty good execution from somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that feeling of confidence. And that's what it feels like going back to Frank Quitely here. Is like all these little things that we should take for granted almost in comics art. Like the fact that there's going to be this foreshadowing that people are going to have natural postures, that people are going to look on model. All these things, the colors are going to be like, look, even just the difference in the coloring, of this. It's just like more bold and things stand out more. It's just better composed. It just feels good, Like relax. Frank Quitely will catch you,
Cassandra Nova has made it inside the Xavier mansion where she finds Wolverine, and she begins kind of her normal routine on Wolverine, being like, oh, you were just your healing system, your healing factor just made you the perfect experiment victim. And, what does your black bug room look like, James? Which I think is really funny.
Yeah. Yep. And this, great to be back on model Wolverine.
Yes.
Like, he's just like, yeah, that don't work on me. Like I can turn off my instincts because of what they did and just go into animal mode. And Beast is like, I'm going to join him in that. Like, I tried to use my rationale against you, but I was wrong. Like Tony Tigers.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And that frame too is really good. Like, just showing both of them kind of crouched down and like getting ready to attack. And it just like somebody has studied the human anatomy. It's not just grew up drawing comic books. So
exactly. Like Beast kind of mirroring, like being the shadow of Wolverine, like the most savage of the X-Men. Super cool.
And Wolverine just says out loud, basically like, hey, because Cassandra Nova is like, you won't dare touch me because I'm in Xavier's body. And he's like, if I have to kill Chuck to get at you, I'm fine with that. Like, I have no problem with that at 100%. That's why they don't let me be on the team anymore.
Exactly. I let me tell you a little something about X-Force. It's coming up.
They don't even let me wear an X on my overalls. Like, you see this?
Yeah, I have to use ECKS. I'm those men. I'm the X-Men.
Oh God. Now that you've said that, Marvel's going to do that somehow next year, I'm sure, if it's not already been done.
House of X.
House of X.
Yeah, House of X.
So he says like, oh, I'm gonna be able to see. You can't see your weaknesses, and that's how I'm gonna be able to win. And then from behind, you can see all of the students showing up, like they said they were gonna do to go fight Cassandra Nova. But then instantly, Cassandra Nova takes over their minds, and they start attacking. The students start attacking.
I think that she had taken over their minds before this. Like, look how all their heads are tilted the same way. I think that them saying, "Can we help?" is being ironic, cool. And then. Again, they're really diabolical, like Cassandra Nova turning the students against them, because Wolverine's not going to go claws out on these students, even though he does sock one of them in the face.
Like, he probably deserved it. Yeah.
I call that superhero podcaster boy.
I do like that triple or quadruple mouth girl from earlier makes an appearance, but now she's just wearing spandex tights.
Yeah. She has a uniform now.
Yeah, she was cosplaying as the Black Cat for some reason, and
she's lost 45 pounds, and she has a uniform now.
Yeah.
So.
And Cassandra Nova basically does like I will annihilate you all.
Yeah, like good line here. She's like the storm and the flame and the rocks in the sky, I simply am. Like this is just the truth. Also, one of the students is wearing a dupe shirt from Ecstatics, which I like.
Extremely good.
All super good. We cut over to Zorn though. Again, this blue light, like again, the coloring is just
phenomenal.
Extremely good.
Yeah.
This is like having a black and white TV on in a dark room. Like it's like one of my favorite qualities of light.
Mm-hmm.
And just basically like, you'll hurt no one, you will humiliate no one. I'm Zorn and I can heal you. And basically tackles Cassandra Nova, while Hank McCoy stabs Cassandra Nova in the Xavier body with injectables, which is going to damage the Xavier body. And I guess I don't really know what this goo is.
Yeah, I don't know that I think they explain it at some point pretty soon, but like it basically just like weakens her at this point.
Yep. Causing her to run off towards, to get her eyes on the prize, like stop tearing and go to Cerebra.
And then one of the kids, as she disconnects from the students and she's not controlling them anymore, one of the kids is like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Logan. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I'm so sorry." Yeah.
She disconnected because the Stepford Cuckoos showed up and did it.
Along with Angel and Beak. And then Cassandra Nova is headed towards Jean, which of course activates Logan, and he's like, "Jean!" And then he starts to run over.
Yep. Cyclops is like, "Hey, she's coming. I can feel her crawling across my thoughts. I can't keep her out. We have to self-destruct Cerebra." And Xavier is like, "No, Cerebra's the last chance." And she is, we cut over to her seeing all of the mutants in the world. She's taking a little bit of, we reveal this in a moment, but she's taking a little bit of Professor Xavier and splitting his head up into all the mutants in the world. Like just a little bit of his brain.
Yes. And when she's finished, this is when Cassandra Nova arrives, and Cyclops just collapses. He can't handle the mental onslaught from Cassandra Nova. It just says, "I'm going to ruin everything." And then obviously he's back in his black bug room. Yeah. And Cassandra Nova arrives in full like goo form and says, "Give me Charles and give me my body."
Yep. And I love this Jean. Just that this is great Jean Xavier stuff here. I mean, Xavier's not in there anymore. Great Jean stuff. I thought I'd be scared when I met you, but I'm not. There's only one of you in the whole world, and you don't actually stand a chance. Like, you're an expert on fear, isolation, pain, and hatred, but you have no idea what friendship is. You don't understand emotional mechanics of people who stick together and support one another. You're very vulnerable. So which makes this one of the only power of friendship stories I like. Because I don't care for the power of friendship. And the Cassandra Nova throws her out of the way, trying to get into the body there.
Yes.
Charles' body, or trying to get into Cerebro, rather, to destroy all the mutants. But however, Charles Xavier's body is, now that his brain is all linked up through all the mutants, he's able to attack.
Yes. And she starts feeling hot claws tearing through my head, and she screams, "Don't!" And this is when Jean also unleashes the Phoenix Force and says, "You're not welcome in this body or anywhere in this world." And Cassandra Nova starts like losing her ability to think. Then Xavier
and
is
gets shunted off of Xavier's body.
Yes.
Like, so now it's just the amazing looking, big multi-armed slime monster thing.
Yeah. Ironically, like the creature from Inside we were talking about earlier.
Actually, very, very similar, actually.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Xavier, who's now in his body again, is like, I'm back. The Mummirdrai is loose. We have to strike while it's fleshless. And it's trying to find a body, and its dialogue is all wonky, like body, need skim, bone divide, grow. It's not human at this point. Like we talked about that before, where it's like this whole, this thing is mimicking what it's like to be human, but it's not. It never was.
And just then, Emma Frost shows up and says, "Wait, don't strike her. I have Cassandra Nova's body right here, and if you want it back, I'm willing to trade. And you can check the DNA, but like you let me and my girls live, and you can have your body back." And of course, Hank is like, "Wait, no, this is terrible." And Logan, wear the most ridiculous outfit that he's worn. I just can't stop staring at it. Says like, "Wait, just hold it." And Cassandra Nova, who has been weakened in this form, says like, "Oh, that's the true flesh. That's my true flesh." And says like, "Okay, yeah, this is a perfectly agreeable like argument, like or bargain, excuse me."
Yep. And Emma's in diamond form, which is important. So like, she can't have her mind read in diamond form. That's been established. And Cassandra Nova's bargaining like, you want to live, understand the need to live. Like me get. And everyone is telling Hank to chill out. Like, think about this, Hank, because Hank is very pragmatic and practical. Cassandra Nova goes back into her body and starts making pain noises, and that body, of course, turns back into stuff.
Yes.
So they have trapped Cassandra Nova in Stuff's like super simple, basic nervous system. As she's holding Stuff, we cut over to, again, just like one of my favorite pages or set of pages in the series. In the psychic world where Cassandra Nova lives now, sitting in Cassandra Nova's like Xavier-looking body at a desk, with the gigantic psychic thing behind her, kind of copying her homework, doing homework with multiple hands, and just like not think so good. And she's like, "Why am I not think so good?" And Jean Grey, who's there, they're all dressed like teachers. Like, "Don't worry, this is a school. It's okay that you don't think so good. You're here to learn." And they say, we're going to start at the beginning. Jean Grey draws a big X on the board, and Professor Xavier says A is for Adam.
Yep.
Real badass. Like, I love that.
It's super cool.
He's holding an apple. It's very good.
And from there, we cut over to the real world, and Emma explains that she's trapped in a synthetic brain that's programmed to learn, and that you can all thank the Set for Cuckoos to do that for that. And yeah. And Hank immediately is like, "I'm so sorry I called you a villain. That was inappropriate." And then Xavier wakes up, and as Hank is about to take his chair over to meet Xavier, Xavier's like, "No, I'm good. I don't need my wheelchair anymore." And he's full dongered out. He's dong forward in the last panel of this.
Yep. He's about to step forward and expose himself to people he's known since they were children.
Yep. And that's the end of the issue. And what a great like plot twist and like way to do this. Like the thing that I keep coming back to is the students asking Jean if they were going to kill her, and she's like, "Well, we might have to, but we don't want to because that goes away." And like, this is the perfect representation of that, right? Like this ability to confine her into a relatively powerless machine or substance, and then like teach her what is right and wrong from that point is so very much in the line of X-Men that I just so good.
Love it. It's really, really good. Like the Cassandra Nova arc of this is the strongest this is. I think this whole little bit, it's so intricate, and there's increased intricacy once you start getting to the Zorn stuff later and the Sublime stuff later that is less successful. Like, I still think it's good, but it's not nearly as good. This is like pretty perfect. Like the slow realization that Cassandra Nova is, not a person, not just a traditional supervillain in the way we've been thinking. She's actually a new and very creative kind of malevolent force. And the fact that the X-Men use that against her, and the way that information is kind of doled out subtly and slowly throughout the run, is just really masterclass shit.
Yeah, it's just super great. And like coming from like the very beginning where you think that she's going to be this all-powerful threat, and even then like has a couple of tricks thrown at you that you don't expect from the typical supervillain kind of playbook, all the way into this situation where like, oh, she's going to be Xavier's psychic student for a while, which like that's still kind of problematic, but it's literally the best they could do with this chick. Yeah,
it's still pretty cool.
Yeah,
and just and like she had a huge impact, right? Like this is a very impactful run or set of issues. Like losing Genosha. Like we talked about how the Shi'ar stuff doesn't really pay off, and it seems like it should. I don't think even people at Marvel are interested in Shi'ar. Like nobody gives a shit about that.
Sure.
But the fact that Genosha was lost is a big deal. Like this is that will get referenced. That will become a thing both in this run and in other X-Men stories. Like there is a series called Excalibur that starts up after this that is like rebuilding Genosha. It's horrible. It's Chris Claremont. He's got Callisto, and she gets a secondary mutation where she has tentacles instead of arms.
Oh, good.
It's so dumb. But it was, it launched books like off the face of Cassandra Nova's actions. Like a great X-Men villain that, as far as I know, they've resisted the urge to bring back. I need to like read the Marvel wiki and see if they ever pulled any bullshit.
Oh, isn't she an Astonishing?
I didn't think so.
I definitely thought she was, or maybe it was a different book that I was reading. I thought she showed up in Astonishing for with all the Danger Room stuff. Like I thought she was somehow a part of all of that process.
So the Astonishing came pretty quickly after the Grant Morrison New X-Men. It was like considered to kind of be the torchbearer for like the smart X-Men stuff. I'd be surprised if it came back that quickly, but I also haven't read it in a really long time, so I don't remember.
Yeah, I was just
to the wiki.
To the wiki, yes. So we can just read the wiki off this podcast, which would be
you're a wiki man.
Super terrible.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this podcast. Thank you if you've been one of the kind folks that left us 5-star reviews recently. We really appreciate that. If you want to keep the show going and you want to donate some cash over at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, you can get rewards for doing so, which is super cool. And also just the calm, cool delight of helping some folks out that are trying to get by in this cold world. Yeah, thank you for doing all of that. We appreciate it. And we'll be back in a couple of days with more new X-Men.
Umbasa.
Umbasa.